Hello, 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 guys. Welcome back to another day of ESA Cup. So it is season 9. My name is still Dianic and will never change. So we're still stuck here next to me. You guys can see already my beautiful co-caster for today, Mighty. Again, we're back here, and as you guys can also see, we are a little bit delayed. There were a little bit of siege server issues, so we're just gonna wrap a few things up. What game do we have today prepared for the audience, Mighty?
So we will have the final day of Swiss Stage with the teams being MG Minions against Team Asgard. Both have recently been struggling a lot. Basically, none of them have been struggling a lot, as Asgard has completely turned around. They had an 0-2 beginning, went to 2-2. Meanwhile, Minions had the complete opposite, had a 2-0 start, went down to 2-2. So this will be a pretty even match. After all, though, they played against each other 3 days ago with Team Ascot striking a 2-0 win in R6. We're winning 4-7 on both Bank and Nighthaven, so there were no single standing chances for Minions that way. I hope they have improved in the past days to gone that wild, but I would say let's look directly into the map bands because we're behind schedule.
Exactly behind schedule, and let's not make it longer. The three maps we're going to be seeing, hopefully today, is going to be Clubhouse, Consulate, and as a last, as a decider, we have Nighthaven Labs. Minions decided to pick Clubhouse, and Asgard decided to pick Consulate. So it's definitely going to be an interesting. We have a very old map, the map that has been the longest in a competitive pool, and then we have a rather new map. It has been in there, has been reworked back now again in the competitive pool, and then one of the newer maps, Nighthaven Labs. So I think we go from basically old to mid-old to kind of already known, and then to something completely new, which can cause for a lot of surprise moments, which can cause for a lot of plays, and just for a lot of surprises. And especially, what are you aiming for? What are you expecting to see from Clubhouse?
I would say I am expecting that we will see a match that potentially could go to overtime. It is the most standard map that we have left on Maple. We've gotten rid of Oregon. We have talked about that multiple times this season. So Clubhouse is the last and final map in the Maple as typical of a standard. So either way, both teams should know how to play this map very well, in and out. They should know every inch and nook of this map. So I'm saying if this goes right, this should go to overtime. Either way, though, when we're having spoken about these maps, Clubhouse is the only map out of these three maps speaking Minions. It is Minions map pick, and it's the only map that speaks for them. Because Minions is like a preferred team that plays like mid-scale to standard category maps. Meanwhile, Asgard are like the monsters of big scale maps. They've only lost 3 big scale maps in 2 months after rebranding to this new name. That says something. So I'm a little bit harsh convinced that if Minions doesn't take this well in this first map on their map pick, they will not have a standing chance in the other two.
So it's going to be interesting no matter what. That's what I'm hearing out of here, honestly, man. You're giving us so many
Definitely.
stats. From the looks of it, you're gonna be the stats guy today again.
No, I won't.
You won't? No, we'll see how the day goes along. Well, we have our first three operators being banned: Monty, Maverick, Valkyrie. So far, nothing too surprising. I'm really happy to see a Heart Breacher being banned, especially on Clubhouse, considering you're always gonna have to bring at least 2 Heart Breachers, or one
Mm.
Heart Breacher, and then at least 2 sets of secondary Heartbeat gadgets, the can openers. And on top of that, we also have Kait now banned. So the band's overall nothing too surprising. Definitely an operator which I haven't seen for a very long time being banned is Valkyrie. Considering on Clubhouse there's many more operators which tend to be banned more, like a Mira, like an Azami, like a Warden. So many more viable operators to be banned. Do you think the Valkyrie
Defenders,
ban
protect your bombs from being
could have been
defused by
something
attackers.
like a target bang, or are they trying to prevent something specific from happening?
I wouldn't say it is a target ban. Yes, you have like multiple corners, and we have a lot of square like breakable floors where you can go with vertical plays. So it's very understandable that we ban out of Valkyrie for that example. But if we just look into, yes, I will do the stats. I just joked about that a little bit a while ago. But if we just look into it, I would say that both minions and Asuka knew that Valkyrie wouldn't be in play for this map. Just of the simple reasons, Monty and Valkyrie have a ban
10
rate for
seconds
Team
left.
Asgard for um, Monty, for that instance, 100% ban rate. It's
5
banned
seconds left.
every single time by Asgard. Valkyrie has a 47% ban
Attackers
rate.
must locate and defuse the
Very
bomb.
understandable. And the same matter that convinced me, that was surprising me a little bit. is the Valkyrie ban came from minions, and the response was a Kaid by Asgard, even though the Kaid only has like 9 to 10% ban rate. Meanwhile, a Clash that we saw picked up in the early phases was picked around and back away from Team Asgard was the Clash. So that we didn't see a Clash one is somehow a little bit surprising. But like the approaches from these, I would say, lineups are very understandable. It's a standard map, so we have standard lineups, and these lineups are definitely speaking standard play.
It really comes down to small bits, especially on Clubhouse. You're gonna have to play the standards, you're gonna have to play how the map wants to be played. It is a kind of a checklist. You're gonna have to do 1, 2, 3, 4 if you want to then execute at number 5. If we have also the first opening pick, Team Asgard's gonna set them off strong. Is gonna make sure they have now the man advantage into this round, which they're in the basement. Good for them. Now they have also picked, they got rid of the Twitch. Yes, if they could have gotten the back out, that could have been more crucial on top of that. But it's fine, theoretically speaking, because now they have the man advantage. They can go into the next few minutes into this round. Just wait out a little bit, see what is Minions up to, what are they planning to do, and then beautifully await them with the free C4s they have still in their pocket.
So that some kind of, I would say pretty much until what we are seeing so far, like these standard plays, we're gaining some vertical control, then trying to just make some utilities and also gadgets getting rid of by these defenders to make it a little bit harder for them to withhold their positions in the final takes. That will conclude on in the next few moments. But else, it's a pretty much slow played out round. We had a cheeky kill coming in here for Yoshihiro, and the Spino finding that equalizing frag, though, getting refragged immediately by Klein. Like, the play and the pace is seemingly very smooth and very slow.
The 2v3, as you said, the pace is going to be a little bit slow. Last 50 seconds, they're going to have to make this entry point, but they're taking so much damage, losing yet another member, leaving the last man standing. But it's not going to be it, as Asgard, they finish off this round and secure themselves the first victory on the defensive side on the basement spot. Anything surprising here? I wouldn't really say so, especially when it comes to Clubhouse, considering, as you already mentioned earlier, Minions haven't been too good on a run currently. They have been losing a few games, and then going to Clubhouse, losing the first round on the basement spot, especially if it's the one bomb side that Asgard should be winning.
Yeah, and when we talk about like how these teams are performing recently, we have Asgard on a current 4-series win streak. And we're speaking great names here. We're speaking Da Vinci 2-0'd, 2-1 win against Entropy, 2-0 against Master, and 2-0 against Minions, like the team that they're facing right now. So good current win streak for Asgard, so they're definitely in their performances. Meanwhile, Minions just recently, 2 days ago, found back from their loss streak and won 2-1 against Team Aspire that we just got rid of out of the competition here at ESA yesterday. But before all of that, they had a 5-series lose streak, so they were struggling a bit in the past weeks. So I would say pretty convincing to see they're trying to do something, but I also had a feeling of they played a little bit too slow, a little bit too scared. Could be potential of saying, okay, we have played against the opponents, we lost 2-0, we didn't have a single stand chance to fight ourselves into overtime potentially, but also the other factor that is maybe interrupting me a little bit, that we had some server issues earlier. That's why we are a little bit laid back here from the schedule. Are the players maybe a little bit afraid that the servers are unstable of making these harsh, high-paced plays that they maybe will get a lag or two that will completely cost them the round?
Could definitely be a case. The servers could be a concern, but as long as they're in the game and they're shooting, it should be fine. But yeah, definitely. Also, when you wait half an hour not knowing if it's really gonna happen or not, you lay back a little bit, and that can cause for you to be a little bit out of practice, and then that can cause for a few mistakes to happen. As we have the first opening trade, both teams managed to secure themselves 1 pick each, but we've lost a very valuable member from the side of the Minions. We've lost our Heart Breacher, we've lost our Thermite. We may still have the ace, but he only has 1 ace charge in the pocket left. So opening up the main breach, I don't really think that's going to happen. Ooh,
Cheeky
beautiful
peek.
swing there.
Cheeky peek. So that's definitely counting in for the hands of Asgard. Asgard is not afraid of taking these fights. They're definitely in their zone. They want to close it out. They're feeling confident against Minions. You saw it from the stats recently that they had from the teams, but they are definitely looking their chances upon it, saying we will maybe try to rewind that on an instant basis.
But it is a 3v3 at the end of the day. We're now in the second half of the game. Everything can still change around as they like. We have no flashbangs, no nades, no smokes. Rather nothing, no utility to use much. We may have 2 Bs. That's pretty much it. As we now sneak up on Yashuria, we have the information that one's on the camp. There's another player, but he just completely walked past him. No information, and we also got the kill on top of that. Now left in a 2v3 scenario after that horrendous throw.
Attackers recovered the diffuser.
Please, can someone gift Northy like a gift card for a new headset? Please. And also the teammate, and he has a Spino. Please. You can't stand right beside your teammate, and he's getting rushed out, and you're not reacting upon that. If you were in the camps, miscommunications. You're not camming both players at the same time when you're standing right beside each other. But same all, I would say Asgard is known to have aggressive peaks in defense. They're not afraid of picking these fights out and taking them. And another thing that speaks for Asgard, if you leave Asgard positions where they can mock you out and also steal a lot of your time, these rounds will definitely go in pocket of Asgard. Asgard has a nearly 70% win rate in defenses. They have so far, before end of this match, they've played 76 rounds in defense, and they have won 51 of those. So they are a pure fortress in their own defense holds. They're very confident in those. If you look into their attacks, they're a little bit less strong, with only 60% of the win rate, but still above average from teams in our scale, I would say. So Minis are definitely needing to figure out ways of pre-aiming and not being too passive to get swung by these players, as Asgard is definitely on target and they're locked in. We saw it. We had one proning outside that single breach in from construction outside. Immediately got swung, got spotted out. Another swing came in, and the first bullet sat on the headshot.
So what was that about you saying you're not going to be the stats guy today?
You know me. You know me.
Yeah, pure lies here. And I was like,
Seconds left before
caught red-handed right there, ladies and gentlemen. Right there.
I got caught red-handed here. I would say so. I could do both sides, but since you like to do those in the recent scats when we were casting together, I will stick to the same game strategy.
See, all lies here again.
And since I just want to lay that thing out there, and we're coming to the closeout rounds, and we ask, okay, who will potentially take the first rounds, even though I overtook of being the play-by-play and asked you, forced you to say something. Oh, who will close this map out? Or will go to overtime? I really don't want to answer that. And immediately you turn the question around, so it doesn't even make a change.
It takes a big brain here to do that. It just takes a big brain to do that. But let's focus back onto the game. We are currently on an 0-2 stand. Asgard have won 2 defensive rounds, so they're being forced to go to the last side. Beautifully bandit tricked with Subaru together. All of the ace charges are gone. They're unable to open up this main breach. Neither do they have the can openers anymore. They also have been used, so there's no way they can open up any more hard breach and make and create a line of sight. So the main breach is going to stay close. It definitely puts them in a very difficult position, because that means they're going to have to use every already existing door opening or rotation to their advantage to potentially make something out of this round. They have a good start as they pick up the first opening pick, potentially making it 2 here, but not quite finding the finalizing bullets for it. But on the other hand, we have next kill coming in, taking a little bit of damage, but the first few fightbacks from Asgard, but they keep falling one by one as they find themselves in a 2-man disadvantage now over this round. Peaks coming in, and we have the first few fightbacks from Tom. But it is a 2v3 and there is a clash on the board. We know somebody's there on to launch. The Bs are coming through. And now slowly but steady move down. If we could catch this player off guard, and yes we do! And within a second, we're back down to a 2v2.
And I somehow just need to take that perspective, saying it's minutes their own fault. I've called it on them forehead now in the 2 rounds that we have seen play. If they're going too passive, Asgard will not hesitate of abusing their chances against them. Now finally we see some aggressive approach again towards backlash, and you immediately get a double angle and you force her out. Next time you play an active, you have the upper hand on side, you force them. You need to coming into that gunfight to maybe lock us out and just try to discontinue our plant trial, you force a player to come forwards to you, you gain the kill. But immediately, every single time, minions spotted out the player, and they said, "Okay, let's draw a little bit back, be passive, and wait for an opportunity of getting that kill on a later approach." Immediately, they will bite themselves in the ass because Asgard is coming forward down and take that kill for granted.
But it was the first round, and the minions secured themselves now. It was on the third side, which gives now Asgard the next 2 rounds to go back to a bomb site they've already had a victory on. Particularly about this last round, we had a 4v2 scenario, brought it back down to a 2v2, which just makes things a little bit difficult, I feel like, because you were in a 2v2, you were in the last few seconds, not quite able to support the class to the extent we wanted the support to be, then leaving yourself in a 1v2 scenario. And with that, Asgard was losing the round. But minions definitely... What I think they've done really well is they focused their utility on getting this clash play out and also isolating him from his teammate. We saw the fireballs left to radio door, we saw the fireballs to red door, so the clash was trapped in this little space of room where if he goes to right to the red, he's gonna take damage. And on top of it, he was low HP. So that was really played by minions. They really well used their utility in that round.
Yeah, somehow I agree with you, but somehow I don't. As of the main
as of the
main fact that the clash got dealt with by the minions players, unfortunately, in the cause of that they had Goyos playing against and locking the clash in position. She had nowhere to go anymore. If those weren't the case, Clash could immediately just have fallen back into Red Hallway, and if any of these two attackers have to go that deep to force her out, you will take away that second angle that pretty much dealt the Clash out of that round. So it was unlucky chain of happenings for Asgard, good happenings for minions. Don't get me wrong, it was a good kill, as you mentioned, for minions, but it was very lucky for them that they either got the chance to do that.
A little bit of both, no? And also, is it really that difficult to agree with me sometimes?
Yeah, it is. No, it isn't. No, it is. But Yannick, be fair.
I see how it is. I see how it is.
Alongside each other, and we have every single time had predictions where we're not alike. We're having opinions about which team is taking overtime or closing out the rounds. Every single time, we're not on the same spot. Never. And that's why we're so good casting alongside each other, because we're definitely giving each other points of speaking against each other.
You just like to disagree with me, but I think the other things that disagreed with Yoshiro were the bullets going against him, losing a member, losing to make it 3 on top of that. Minions getting 3 members out of the way from the side of Asgard, finding themselves in a 5v2 scenario, a little bit of a difficult spot for the side of Asgard to swing around, trying to get a few picks here. A lot of these people are very low HP, but we just take ourselves the time to get the kills, but now our teammate is injured. We're left with the last 33 HP. The verticality is gonna be unseen as somebody is already holding the flank, and that minions secure themselves another round and make it a 2-2 scenario. So we're back to equal, we're back to kind of, we just haven't started, and now also the tactical timeout comes in. And no, I will still disagree with you. I think you just want to disagree with me.
No, I don't, because I will agree with you. This round here was phenomenally played out by minions. And I definitely understand why the timeout is pulled down, because that round looked very good for them, and they still just want to disrupt the game for a little bit by Asgard, even though I would more likely understand a timeout being pulled by Asgard than Team Minions, as Asgard definitely struggled to withhold their position on that spot. And we're going basement. Basement is the most defender-sided spot that we have on Clubhouse, and that's the spot where you're not allowed to lose, as of the positioning that they had cost them so dearly that they definitely had a huge disadvantage to regain position back on this side. And that's like the main factor of me saying Ask was not capable in that round to withhold and also capitalize for that round in their sake.
Seeing that it's a 2-2, seeing the way minions have adapted to Asgard, is there a chance for minions, or what would they particularly need to do to potentially put themselves on a 4-2 scenario here?
In the hands of minions?
Yes.
I would say the first thing they already have implemented, and that is since of the major that we have probably seen last weekend, that concluded last weekend. I mean, we have seen a huge impact that both Deimos and also Blitz have on these attacking lines. As soon as you bring those players on, I'm convinced you will have an operator at least that is able to force in these defenders of movement. You need these defenders to move as soon
10 seconds
as
remaining.
possible to maybe get a line or two that can cross over, and also these crossover placements. If
5
you have a
seconds
line
left.
or a vision, a verticality, that will definitely cause you in, because these defenders very
Attackers'
often
objective is to
forget
locate a
about,
bomb
okay,
and
there's a
defuse
vertical
it.
line, there's a high line, there's a foot line, and that can cost you daily in the defenses. So if you pick up operators like a shield, like a blitz or a Deimos that force operators to move, you get free availability of visuals on your opponents. Another stake is also you can spot out where potential roamers are. You can spot out where like huge bases of utility are. Like these advantage points are pretty much the case handling for minions. If they get that a little bit more on spot, they are able to close out and also lock away safe positions for Team Asgard. Team Asgard pretty much either way have to go and look into perspectives of taking out these operators as soon as possible and not be afraid of taking these fights.
But it also comes down to not taking a lot of these 1v1s, right? Because we've seen a lot of 1v1s by Team Asgard, and definitely we need to make sure to isolate and take out these operators. But you gotta make sure that you do it with a teammate together and don't position yourself in too many 1v1 positions. Here again, you see the player from Yashiro just swinging in, being in a 1v1 scenario, trying to get the kill, trying to potentially get a kill before he dies because he knows he's going to be executed. He knows he's going to be pushed out of his position because of the drones, because of the information that's on him. Why are you in this place from the beginning? Why are you isolating yourself so much from your teammates, especially as a Goyo, where you shouldn't be on the roam? Yes, utility might be passive, but you position yourself so far away that you force yourself to be in these scenarios, causing your team to lose a member. And now on top of that, you've lost another member from Team Asgard. Now we are back down to having a two-man disadvantage, and every round you have a two-man disadvantage is always going to be difficult for the team who has that disadvantage.
Pretty much, Asgard is pulling a BDS. They're over peaking, they're standing too widely open, too frequently. They're crossing normal lines, normal approach ways that they should know the better of, that these will be pre-aimed. And also the same thing that happens in the perspective of minions, as soon as they gain a pick or two, they overpace. And that's like the points that I'm seeing. We are losing intel, we are playing a little bit too reckless for my having. And we're just having back and forth, do we?
Exactly, the back and forth is coming through, but it's going to be Asgard now staying on top of that, as we only have 2 HP. We have 100 HP percentage from Tom. On the other hand, we have from the minions 2 HP, so that's not much. A singular Master Drone could be the end and could be the death of you, but you gotta be careful reloading that. Hold on, it's gonna take a little bit of time, but now you've revealed our position with the last 15 seconds. We definitely need to do something here. As we slowly but steady move around the corners, not quite having the information where the players are, and then we just finish it off from the side of Asgard. Beautiful comeback from their side in a 3v5 scenario to end up in a 1v1 with having that much of an advantage. And also, let's not forget the Master Drones giving a lot of information. And on top of that, having the time on your side. But this shot, by the way, have you seen this?
I
It's
saw
gonna be the
it.
second peak. It's gonna be the second peak. Woo! That was a quite
Huge
beautiful
kill.
shot.
It was very beautiful done by OnFalls. Like immediately what I mentioned, BDS faults done by Asgard as they're pretty much plant standing in plain open sites. It's too crucial. You're giving away kills for free in the hands of minions. And if you do that to minions will definitely take those with them, and they will gain their advantage points out of that. But immediately, when you then figure out a way of comebacking in and equalizing the numbers, Asgard stabilize themselves and say, okay, let's lay back. Let's try and figure out ways of gaining full back control. Now we have equalized them to a 3-3 man count. Immediately, the 3-2 opponent gaining happens by minions. You get a refrag immediately once again. And then you just close it, just calm down. Have an overpeaking once again. Immediately that one gets traded out as well. And then that 1-1 scenario, you had no given chances for that buck to gain his opponent's chance there. He had load on HP. Master had cams open. He still had a lot of ammunition left. He had multiple cams left for his teammates to call upon. And the time was definitely ticking against Buck. They were like, it was close out where it could potentially come from, and also the time was so low that he was forced to do something.
A lot of force coming through, but that's what you gotta do sometimes. Especially from the side of minions, now they are again in the round disadvantage. This round they could secure themselves the 3-3 split. They could walk away with 2-4, which would be the default. So nonetheless, what outcome comes, I think they've played it very well. Considering they've gotten 2 rounds, they can go for the default for the 2-4, but a 3-3 split would be the optimal split for the side of minions here. And I think they can force it. I think they have the possibilities to do so. I mean, looking at it, Asgard, they're stacking up on each other on Logi, but there's nobody occupying this Logi hatch. But that's just my question. Why is there nobody from the side of minions when we already have somebody on the roof occupying this Logi hatch? Because that could be a little bit of a break point.
It could be a little bit out of a break point, but either said, they have a lot of time left. Now you see how crowded the players of Asgard are. There's not much room left given for them to move. If you then maybe get spot out and also gain some, I would say, some free intel points by a passive position drone. You also have a Grim on charge, a lot of windows, a lot of angles that you can potentially pre-fire and also gain a lucky bullet or two. So I would say it's pretty equal outnamed the round, but these swings are so crucial. They're so good, they're so on point for Asgard as Tom figures out the first kill for this round.
Beautiful opening pick for the side of Asgard, meaning they can position themselves on a good 2-4 swap if they can just eliminate the last 4 players from the minions. So Besetti was peeking in, we're swinging around, trying to get these kills. We find ourselves the equalizer, make it back down to a 4-4. And as I say that, the swings come along. Yoshiro with a double with the shotgun as well. In a 1v4 scenario, it's looking like this is going to be it. As Yasuke also jumps out, finds the final kill in this round. And there we have it, Asgard showing the true power again with beautiful swing. Yoshiro again. It's not the first time he's played the shotgun in this matchup. It's not the first time I see him whip out that shotgun. But the fact that he gets away with 2 kills on top of that, one of them was in a Logi hedge, which he should have never won if we're being honest.
And then he gained himself a triple as well in the same round with the same weapon. Tells the story in its completion. But like, if we just look into the matches that we have had privately this week, I had a cast on Monday where that shotgun already was wide in usage by both the Legion and also the Nuck in the attack. We saw more than 15 kills done by that shotgun in that play day. So I would say that shotgun is definitely in some meta perspective. We have just seen it be getting pulled and pulled more often and more frequently in the last weeks.
I'm afraid of that shotgun. You know, like, it doesn't take much for me to target ban an operator. You know, for a very, very long time, I was target banning the Vigil because of the Boss G. I might swap it over to a Legion, not gonna lie to you.
So you're Legion banning, and would it mean that you're banning Nuck as well because she has the same shotgun?
No, obviously, on the attack it stays Monty. I'm not dealing with Monty in rank, am I?
Okay. So when you're banning up Monty, you have so many other brutal weapons. Blitz, Deimos.
No, it's just a principle. The Monty ban is just a principle ban.
It's a principle, okay.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused.
So
The defense
the principle
ban
on
is
your
a
side
scad
is
ban.
pretty much as hardly set as for Team Asgard. They have a 100% ban rate on Monty.
Exactly. It's a principle. You just gotta throw through with the principle.
But when we're talking about principles, Diana, 4-2 roll split by Asgard from the defense into the attack, is that not the most awaited scoreline after the first half for this map?
I mean, it is this default swap, right? It's just the scoreline you would normally see on nearly any given clubhouse match, even though this map is nearly as close to 50-50 as it potentially could be for the amount of times that it has been played all over the seasons and all over the league matches. It is as close as it can really get, and it is very equalized. It is a checklist map. You gotta do certain steps before you do others. But one thing here, the 4-2 swap doesn't mean too much because now minions are on the defensive side. They are on the basement swap, which is most likely for them to be won because, again, they are on the defense and it's the one bomb side that favors defense the most. But the one thing I'm really afraid of is this blitz because from the looks of it, we're not gonna go slow, we're gonna go quite fast. Inside information is there, doing a little bit of damage, but never turn your back to a blitz. We're now fully rushed in. We might not be able to take the one, but the second comes along, and with a few 30 seconds of this round, we're left in a 1v5 scenario. Plants going down, and our mate is off the site in stock with C4 in hand, unable to do anything because the bomb has been planted before the 2-minute 10 mark, and that itself is a crazy fact.
It definitely is. And as much as I would love to have the drawing board of Leo now, there was such a huge gap there for Team Asgard. They spotted out the completion of all operators being brought by minions in the defense lines. They looked into positions of gadgets, especially these Melusi gadgets, and spotted, okay, we have a free entry cross line that we can use as a fast entry from that blue section. And what happened? Open window, jump through, and pushed in. Perfectly done. By the book, what a push should look like. Minions did look pretty bad on that round, as they were offside with 3 guys. There were 2 guys onside. Both got dealt and cleared out in like 15 seconds from the first entry. Immediately, every single else one has to drop down and continue back onto site. You gain these advantage points, you lock them off, gain the kills. Only 1 player left. You do the plant. You have multiple positions. You have these safe operators with the big guns waiting down below, and you have a blitz. Manus, go up and push him. Gain the kill. Beautifully done by Team Asgard. No chance for minions to win that back.
10 seconds to go.
The train snapped. The strat was set.
5 seconds to insert.
All that happened in that moment is just straight through. Beautifully, as you said, like they opened up the blue window. All three of them pushed through the blue window. Blitz in front, just going through. And this is also what you need sometimes when you have a train like Blitz. You just gotta have somebody behind it who has, and I'm just gonna say this, who has the guts to just push through, and doesn't matter what's happening in front of him, that he's just gonna pull through with it. As we can see, hasn't been too much has been changed from the side of the minions. They've played a little bit closer to the hatches, knowing in case if there would be another rush, they could react on it. But Asgard, they've decided completely different. They're gonna do a little bit of a top to bottom roam clear now. And here again we find the first opening pick. Now we have our bar player gone. So the middle floor has been now occupied by Asgard. So the players who are up above are gonna have a difficult time rotating back now.
They will have a difficult time to rotating back. In the after effect as well, once again you see like I would say the out of positions that we have, like the multi-haul from above is annoying for Asgard to play against, but it's definitely very risky for minions. As soon as you gain some advantages, you're locked down in a pretty confined space. And as we just mentioned, Asgard quietly before, they're pushing. They're doing a lot of pressure. If they know your spot, they will definitely not hesitate of pushing you out. And if you have a multi-elevation hole and you're playing down basement, and you have a 1v4 now, multi-angle coming in, no standing chance. Once again, you're losing basement 2 times in a row. I mentioned earlier, basement is a so highly preferred site for the defenders. It's so harsh to attack upon, as you only have a limited amount of potential entryways and also playways. But you figure out ways of Team Asgard to lock those off and down quite fast, without a single hesitation point of saying we're not taking this. Minions definitely have some struggles with holding their own defense lines. For my sake and for my preference, they're definitely a little bit too aggressive in where they're positioning themselves. They're too far away. They're too far split from each other. There's no giving rounds where they can play each other as a unit and help each other out. That definitely cost them the round.
Difficult, right? Because you just had a rush happen to you, and the one thing that you reply with is kind of not really changing around the strat. They kind of still win with the same procedure as before, and that is the problem. They had the 2 runs they've won on the attack were the runs they adapted to the opponent team so well and reacted based on what was given in the rounds. Now you just played the basement spot and you didn't adapt to them, and that is the real question. we may be moving up now to the top floor, but you are in a 2-6 stand. Especially when it comes to Clubhouse, you don't want to be in this position. You've just played 2 basement rounds, which are very, as you said, very favored by the defensive side, but you just lost both. And Asgard just is seeing these weak spots. They're seeing that aggression is working up against these opponents. And the one thing they're going to do, they're just going to keep exploiting that. Because as long as they can do, and as long as it gives them round being aggressive, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you just be fast and aggressive with it if the opponents can't handle it? And if the opponents won't adapt to it? Perfectly. 30 seconds of the round have passed. We're already in CCTV. We already have CCTV breach open. We're swinging around the corner. Yoshiro gets himself the first opening pick. And that's how quick it can go. Already in a man disadvantage for minions.
Yarna completely overset, standing completely plain and open side. Definitely too crucial and definitely cost his team that entry frag. As unfolds though, tried to figure out a way of gaining it back, gains it back. But no, like the pretty much open thing that I want to mention here is Asgard is definitely pressurizing the points there where they are seeing lacking points in the defense of minions. Minions still have to figure out ways of gaining these advantage points back in the after effects, as they're always one step behind. They're too crucial. They're standing a little bit too open. They're not reacting fast enough in these confined spaces, in these gunfights going down. And immediately you see what happens by Asgard. They see in plane, they have plane opening intel. They're going with it, and they're definitely gaining their advantage points with it. Well, this time now, finally, we see some more aggression coming in by Team Minions. They have the intel. They go and continue with it and gain something out of that. That is the first time in the, approximately 4 rounds where we see that Minions doing these perspective kills.
But yet again, we find ourselves in a 3v3. They managed to come back, and the thing with Asgard is because they're so aggressive, because they're mechanically so skilled, you can never count them out. And there we have it, another kill happening. Down to a 2v3 yet again. Asgard secured themselves the man advantage. And here at this point, you could have been playing with a team, you could have tried to support your team a little bit, but how do you want to do that if everything is already crossed apart? So there's also a little bit of a thing of understanding when your welcome is overstayed. And exactly this is why Min swinging around the corner, unable to secure the kill, while Asgard just sold the mechanical skills they have, picking up another round and also picking up the final victory for this map. As they win the last attack they needed to win from a 5v4 to a 4v3 scenario, back down to a 3-0. Taking out every single player from the side of Minions, securing themselves the first opening round and the first opening map of this best of 3. Senzu with 2-4, Yoshiro with 10 kills. So, and here again, you see this aggression coming in, swinging around, getting the first opening pick within the first 40 seconds of the round. And this is what they've been doing so great. Even though they were in a man advantage, even though they didn't have the best odds playing against him, they never stopped because they knew aggression is the weakness, is the kryptonite of the Minions.
It's definitely the kryptonite of Minions. And another thing here is, I mentioned it, if Minions isn't finding grounds on this first map, they will have a very hard run on map number 2 and 3. Because map 2 and 3 are big scale maps. These maps are not fitting playstyle of Minions in the current basis. They have won recently against Aspire, but else, every single great or big scale map they have picked so far, they've always lost against a big team. If we have a mention that Team Asgard has only lost 1 big scale map in the last 2.5 weeks, and that was against Entropy on Bank. Every single else of these big scale maps, we're talking Skyscraper, we're talking Consulate, we're talking Night Haven, we're talking Cafe, no losses there. And there are high wins like 7-2, 7-3. The lowest win that they had so far in the last week was a 7-4 on Consulate. That the next that we will see. So Minis is definitely up for a joyride, and it will definitely be a painful one if they are not cruciating from this match on and find some points.
It's going to be difficult, but before we go on and say so many things about statistics from our apparently not stat guy here, Mighty, I would say we throw you guys quickly on a break. We'll be back with the map number 2, potentially the last, hopefully not. Hopefully we go to a all the way third map at Night Haven Lab. So see you guys after a short break. Don't run away, get yourself some popcorn. We'll be right back. Here we are, back again after a short break. I told you guys it's gonna be short. I didn't lie. Or would you agree with me, Mighty? Oh no, let me guess. You would disagree with me here, right?
I wouldn't disagree. It was short. Yes, it was short. And somehow I would also say that I'm somehow, name me a minions hater, but I would call this will be a quick map. If I'm giving minions a chance here, they show
Okay.
themselves as different minions that we saw proudly on Clubhouse. They need to be quicker in their own defenses, in their build-ups, and also their final positioning. They need to be closer positioned to each other that they can play as a unit. And in their attacks, they're definitely figuring out ways of droning more essential things quicker and gaining advantage points of saying we are dealing out utility and gadgets faster to then concentrate ourselves to the Romans first and then gain the first spot control. If they mess it up once again of gaining spot control beforehand, gaining advantage points of destroying utility, and then having these Romans coming back, this will be a quick round, and Asgard will definitely close them off. As I've not seen a good map by minions on big scale maps in the recent 2 weeks.
They can need and they have to show us. They just have to show it to us. There's nothing we can predict. There's nothing we can say. They will have to simply, honestly, show it. It is the second map. They are in a map disadvantage. So if Asgard take this map, that would mean the best of 3 is done. This is the final day of the Swiss stage, as already mentioned. It is a really, really, really important game for them. And on top of that is a really important map. As we now go into Consulate, what are your ban predictions? And I'm going to take one away. Yes, we all know Monty's going to be banned. We're talking about the other 3. See, every time he runs away, every time I try asking a very important question. So, the bans that are hopefully coming free. Then see now he's back. But no, you know what? I'm not giving you this chance now anymore.
It's
Because
fine.
no,
I would stop it. I would just say for myself that my mom went into my room when we had the introduction. You saw a little face back there, so I had to answer a question. So I'm sorry for that, but I'm fully back now.
No excuses. So the bans we're gonna be seeing, obviously Brava the week next in coming a Monty. I would love potentially on the defense to see a cheeky little Azami ban, potentially also a Valkyrie or Miro ban. Those are the 3 operators which I found really, really crucial on the defense ban. Well, the Monty one was quite obvious. And yes, the one question I did ask you, Mighty, is which bans are coming through, but I'm not allowing it. I'm not giving it to you anymore. No, you know what? You've run away. You've given us excuses over excuses.
Okay,
I'm not taking it anymore. I'm not taking it. You know what? So hopefully we see a Miro Clash ban.
Yeah, I would say something about that now, but I've mentioned it on the last map. So for the guys that weren't here for the last map, I'm sorry guys, I'm not saying it again. So Bravo Monty Clash, I would say it's reasonable.
so you know the stubborn one. I see how it is. Okay. And then Valkyrie coming.
If you're gonna be stubborn on me, I will be stubborn on you.
No, the Clash definitely in the Monty makes sense. It's nothing too surprising here. Yes, if you look at it from outside perspective, not having the information about these 2 teams, the Clash ban can seem a little bit out of hand, a little bit without reason. But Monty, would you, Mighty, be so kind to go over the Clash ban?
Okay, a Clash ban, I would say it's like the biggest counter for like maps like, for example, Consulate, we're just currently seeing where you have multiple angle ways of like entering different type of areas of the building or of these roomage. You can immediately break down the pace and slow down these attackers. One thing that was mentioned earlier by Asgard is they're playing a lot of tension at play. They have high pace with a lot of aggression. What is the one thing that could completely block them off in their attacks, in their attacking flow? For example, a clash, a Malusi, something that breaks their pace down. That is definitely one of the key impact rules why Asgard is banning that operator so frequently. Like in the Great Mention, Monty, Valkyrie, and Clash are like the 3 most banned operators in the hands of Asgard. That are the operators they say for themselves. They break down our pace, and they disrupt our game flow in both defense and also attack, mainly in the attacking zones. That is like the difference to take in perspective of having teams that can currently complete do tactical bans against the team they're playing against. To a team that is completely banning on their side of saying, okay, these operators disrupt our own game flow in both hand sides, and we're banning those out because we don't want to have to deal with those.
Exactly, so it comes down to the few things. Oh, nearly even getting the opening pick there. But what we saw quite early rounds is how quick Asgard is taking the space and taking room and control. And that is quite impressive from their end, because within the first few seconds we already saw a few drones coming in down below, making sure that they can take the space with no problems, giving them so much time to potentially even start a little bit of vertical pressure from down below. That we have the Ash coming through from down below, making sure this player is going to have to rotate out of his position and just creating so much chaos with those Ash charges.
And when
Here you have it. Opening pick. Beautiful.
Beautifully done. And another thing that I just want to quickly throw in there is, if you look at the positioning from the defenders in the hands of minions, they're completely heavy lasted in the front end section through that open area spot. Immediately, we only have one guy standing deep below on the yellow stairs. So if this would have been concluded with a deep attack on the B side, there was like no potential players of the defenders to be able to play those back immediately. They would have been in the position where they need to retreat back onto side, and that wouldn't fit their case. 3-on-2, we have nearly 3 full health P guys in the hands of Asgard, and all they're down on 5, and Alpha's on 4. It doesn't look good.
We'll play outside just waiting on the repel, but also on top of that, we had 2 people who were 5 HP. One of them has been lost along the way. Now it's up to the last 2 men standing from minions to potentially turn around this round, but only an impact in the pocket. No C4, no nothing. Last 40 seconds soon's coming in. So one thing that Asgard has done here again so well is using the aggression to their advantage. Swinging around the corner. There's going to be Yoshiro on the other side of the map taking out their teammate. 1v3 scenario, not much we can do here. 25 seconds soon left. The plant's going down a few bullets, but it's going to be a swing around from the other corner from the stairs, finalizing the kill in the first round, and that means Asgard walk away with the first victory on the attacking side. It just really comes down to the aggression from this team.
It definitely does, and definitely does. I would also say, since we spoke about the stats on the basis of both attacks and defense on Clubhouse, as they are very even, the same both also counts for Consular. We have a 44 to 55%. Yes, it's a 10% spree between these two, but it's very close. On Clubhouse, it's a spree of 5% in between. So we're going the same merits of perspective, that both hand sides have the good opportunities to win equal rounds in round count. Well, the final thing here that I saw, good take by Asgard, even though I had some lacking feeling of they didn't have the right amount of intel, especially because there was no one in the near close of hand side of being able for the defenders to play out that B side. They could have potentially done a fast take on B side and concluded a complete plan through, and also charge off to lock out that planter for their sake faster than minions could recover back onto that B side. They forced upon them and said, we want to play a plan on standard A, and conclude with that. Asgard, a lot of aggression again, having their crosses, especially another thing that's very important for them. They're having their teammates' backs. Immediately, if one guy falls, we have another guy being able to do these refrags. And that is the lacking part that I mentioned. Minions is still in the lacking here. They're too widely spread from each other, and there's no possibilities for them to play together as a team.
And that allows Asgard to just be that aggressive point to just take these players, because as you said, they can't really refrag, and that's something they definitely need to fix for the coming rounds. And here we have it again, Asgard being so quickly on the take. There's a droning this player right in front of him, making sure he can take the space while he is just slowly but steady sneaking through, and also starting a little bit of vertical pressure from down below, and yet again like the round before, and he's not going to be punished by it, but rather he is punishing these players yet again. We know last time somebody was repelling on this window, and this is what we're waiting here from the Goyo. We're waiting for this repel sound, but fortunately we didn't know that there's somebody just sneaking and just patiently waiting. Tom, just waiting to see a little bit of a head here, but there's not going to be anyone peeking around as we have the equalizer not being found. The information is there, but there is definitely somebody in that cupboard, and he's going to be taken out by Tom. As he just overstepped his comfort zone a little bit. Swing around the corner, we know where these players are. Again, isolating them from their teammates. Unable to, there's somebody who could potentially refrag them. Swing around the breach, a 2v4 scenario. We need to take these 1v1s. Might be able to get one, but there's 3 more we need. And only the first half of the round have passed.
Just look upon this. You've forced back these defenders so quickly. You forced an Onfalls to withdraw his position and fall and drop down to the first floors and recover back onto side. You need to destroy another castle barrier, so he is already known and prescripted where he is coming from and where he's rotated back. These pings already has also been spotted him out, so there's no free rotation. There's no moment of surprise left for that guy. Especially also we have a man count gain for Asgard as there's 1 man more on the board. That one is equalized though, but immediately, oh, what an upper hand for minions. And they close it out as Asgard is struggling to find back after those kills. That was a shocker.
Talking about how aggressive Asgard can be, talking about how these 1v1s mostly work out in their favor, but here's the thing. Here's the risk you always take with that. If you take those 1v1s, if you play this aggressive they have been playing, they were in a 2v4 scenario. Unfortunately, swing around the breach, we were in a 1v1 scenario, and if you take these ones and you don't win them like there, and taking another 1v1 on this breach, as we can see a flashbang coming through, we know a player is going to be there, we know a player is going to swing. You give them these 1v1s, equalizing 2, you take the risk, and if you lose it, you position your team in a spot like they're losing the second round now. So yeah, it is a risk if you don't have an immediate trade to it, and Asgard just was made aware that even though they may have stumbled and rocked over minions the last map, doesn't mean they can do the same on this one.
It doesn't mean it, but just to give them crowds out there a little bit of understanding how bad this map is for minions. Minions have played it 20 times, lost 11 of those. They have lost it the last 3 times they played it. And every single result, concluding forward, the result has spoken more and more against them and more for the team they played against. Meanwhile, Asgard has played this map 6 times after the rebrand of name, and they have never lost it. The closest they had on that map so far is a 7-5, and that was against Team Master last week. They also had a 7-5 against this minions team in RSX. That was the closest ever had on this map. Also had a 7-1, a 7-0, and another 7-0. So just of making clear this map is a map of Asgard speaks completely for them. But either way though, it still has possibilities. Minions have so often showcased that they can rise above and prove not only us casters, but also the community out there wrong in the moments and the matters where it matters the most. And that is also in this round as they gain themselves another opening frag.
Asgard on left in a man's advantage for this round, but he's fine theoretically speaking. They may have lost the ace, but we've seen them multiple times have a comeback, even though being in a 3v5, 2v5, Asgard, when it comes down to the mechanics, is still every single player of this team can frag, which gives them so much power. They're not to be underestimated, but also minions, if they play it right, if they play their strengths, they can definitely pick off a few defense rounds here, and that's what they need. Especially, you said it, the stats might not be working for them. It is a 60-40 rate, losing it 60% of the time, winning it 40% of the time so far. I mean, they can make it 50-50 if they win today. As we can see, we're in the second half of this round. In the last soon 1 minute, Asgard haven't established too much control nor space they could be working for to even execute. So they are not even that close to the bomb site.
They aren't that close, and they're not having that much of a time left to finally conclude back on. Well, the possibilities are still there, and they also have already spotted out 3 out of these 5 guys, but these 5 guys are swinging in and finding the next kill. Now on Hoshiro, it's a huge one. Yasuka finds the next one. Yasuka finds another one. That one is a teammate though, and that's unfortunate. This round will be locked down. Yarna finds the kill onto Tom, and it's only Yasuka left. And I pretty much say, and I both think that we can agree on that one. This round is definitely for minions to take.
Should definitely be for the minions, but if you throw too many 1v1s, it can change a round, and it's just gonna make sure that that's not going to be happening. Minutes now with the lead on a 2-1. But the question is it really the Minions that are playing it well right now? Is it rather Asgard just giving away the rounds here a little bit? Because especially if we look at this round, let's be honest and let's be real a little bit, you cannot be attacking the bomb side from one direction, especially if you want to do a direct take.
Attackers
If you
need to locate
don't
and
have the
defuse
utility to
as many
deal with
bombs
it,
as
if
they
you don't
can.
have an EMP grenade to open up that wall, to create that pressure, but you need to use a Maverick, which cannot give you the freedom an Ace would be doing on the same time.
Mm.
Is it really Minions taken and playing this map well right now?
No.
Or is it Asgard kind of giving away these points? What is your opinion?
My
Bombs
opinion is
located
pretty
by
much
attackers.
that Ace that fell through the roster pretty early in that round and fell, making the opening frag even happening for Minions, was very unlucky for Asgard, as that guy, as you just mentioned, could have played and opened up that breach and also play a little bit aggressive from a multiple side, could have opened more walls that would make it also a little bit harder to withhold this position from the mirror and the mirror window in cafeteria. Dealt with out of the roster, no chance to do that. Make it a little bit harder for yourself in the attacking lines of gaining access, as there's a little bit confined space down there, and there's not multi angles where you can cross over and also swing from to make it a little bit more advanced for these defenders to withhold their position and force them to move. Here they completely were a little bit in the static position. They got to stand still, pre-aim off, and just wait for Asgard to do some plays. I immediately caught them off guard. So good play done by Team Minions somehow, but still in the other aspect, Asgard tried something. They're not looking as strong as they did on Clubhouse so far, but I would rather say that they're saying, okay, let's focus and let's play these rounds clean. Every round that we're losing is hurting, but it's not risk taking for us, because we know for a fact that this map is indeed a very hefty side of ours in the defense. We're very sturdy in our defenses. There's no way that we're giving away this map in defense lines.
But it only one round down, so that's still completely fine. If we look back, it was a 2v2. And they are on the attacking side, let's not forget that. The attacking side especially can always be a little bit in the disadvantage, because you have one factor you will never be working with, and that is time will always be taken against you. As we can see, when we back down to the things that we normally see from Asgard, it's just having the aggression, pushing in, so clicking on information is that somebody's in the corner. Beautiful opening pick, not being seen by the cam. It was the default was up, but nobody was on it. Nobody was giving the info. Now we can just push free. We know where these players are, but we can take them out potentially one by one, as we may have the top floor control, but that is the risk. You take it, but the C4 comes from down below, and no more C4, no more anti-plant. If they get these few players up on the top floor side, they could soon go for a direct take, but the time is ticking, a minute left on the clock. The Minions, they're wasting the time so well, they're just waiting.
Huge swinger coming in front on Falls there, clearing out of that position. That position pretty much locked down a possible plant scenario for Asgard. That plant scenario now has been taken away after these two swingers coming in from Minions. So Minions is definitely looking good, looking better now in this match than on the prior one. So I'm not convinced. This feels a little bit too shaky, even though there is somehow, I would say like a fake hold in top floor, as they already are pointing out in that piano switch. We're just seeing Asgard has completely switched upon and switched their priorities. They want to focus back down into that middle floor, of just clearing out these rooms and maybe gain themselves a possibility onto a plant. And it's pretty much coming down to this Vamai, if he's able to lock down or if he will get spotted out and killed.
We try to do a little bit of vertical, but we're gonna be taken out by Yasukuzo. Now we are in a 1v2 scenario, and we drop down the hatch, knowing we are on the top floor. Creating these verticals only made it one possible where we could be going down. And this is what exactly I meant earlier. You take the 1v1s, you give them the 1v1s, and an opponent who is, theoretically speaking, mechanically so strong, they're gonna take them, of course. And they looked so strong from the side of Minions, but there we have it. We had the live ping, not swapping around, not trying to be aggressive here. We dropped down, we position ourselves yet again in a 1v1 instead of just playing it slow. Wait for the vertical, wait to have that support before you peek in and try to take the 1v1. Now, Asgard managed to make it, to bring it back down to a 2v2. So we back down to neutral scoreline, as if like the last 4 rounds haven't happened. But with the last 4 rounds, Asgard and Minions both gathered so much information on how the opponent team is playing this. Enough for Asgard, this could be another round where they could walk away with another victory on the attack. Because last time, they won it the first time, they lost it the second time, but they always get the info.
Asgard just concentrate on maybe building up a multi-angled entryway, I would somehow say, just to maybe catching a line or two, where they can get some visuals on these defenders, maybe catching one of them off guard, gaining a very early advantage point. Like, the main figure that I want to mention is Asgard just pretty much showed from the book how winnable 4-2 downwards hand split is playing out. And Minions perfectly showcased how easy it is also to just give away a 4-2 upper hand. I don't want to say that Minions played it out bad, but it's very unfortunate. As you mentioned, they take many 1v1s, they're staying a little bit too open, and they're playing a little bit too static in their defenses. They figured out a way, okay, static worked well for us in round number 2 and 3, gaining us the upper hand, and gaining us the first lead. Immediately, they maybe rely on that. The yellow ping come in, and as you mentioned, Asgard is so good on mechanicals. And if you give them 1v1s, especially when Asgard also has the advantage point of having a yellow ping in a ish area where you're positioned at, there's no standing for chance for you if you're a little bit too slow in your reactions. And Minions are a little bit feeling slow in their reaction times. I have to say that.
Not quite shining in the 1v1s like Asgard is, as we now open up the breach. We have a beautiful trade actually coming through. Now we have the next few kills happening, but all of them are favoring the Minions. Asgard, they're being picked off apart one by one. They could be coming back, but we need the information that somebody's in a corner playing these cheeky spots, relying on not being drawn out has worked out this round. And also what we've also seen from the side of Minions this round, they completely played up front with Asgard. The entry points they had, they were completely playing against it, up in front, waiting for the entry points. And they were rewarded by it, by every single time they got the opening pick, they got the kill. There was a cheeky little trade coming through, and there at the end, walking in yet again. Trying to make something out of that 1v4 scenario. Not quite working out.
And I gotta say, I'm still very convinced of what I just pretty much mentioned and talked about. Asgard is giving away rounds because they rely too much, as Minions relied a little bit on their static positioning, just letting these opponents play a little bit further onto them, to then maybe find the perfect momentum to swing in. But Asgard just pretty much did the same. They had a little bit too static build-up. They go for the same standard once again. They won it in the first attempt because it maybe came a little bit as a surprise that they played it so heavily guarded from that one perspective. The first round, then immediately they lost the second attempt, and the third attempt was pretty much all the same. You play with a lot of brutal force from these windows, and Minions knew that for a fact. They said, okay, that was their stand-up play. Maybe they will try it again. We position us for that case. They position themselves for that case. As we mentioned, if they gain themselves good positions, maybe catching Asgard off guard, and maybe are ready and prepped for these with these crosshair placements done already, Minions definitely capable of taking Asgard down. And Asgard pretty much, for my sake, they are playing it too linear. They're playing it too straightforward. They need to expand a little bit and having multiple angles where they can entry from and also cross over for each other. Maybe having these cross angles coming in, because that is the main point that I'm seeing why they're losing these top floor attacks.
We'll be back in the last round on the basement spot. The top floor has been a little bit of an issue, but let's look back at the basement spot, which they weren't quite successful getting the last time it was played. I know with the information they've gathered last time, hopefully they can make it work this time, so we will be seeing a 3-3 swap. Obviously, that would favor Asgard. As long as Minions can walk away with 4-2, that would favor them then if we start on the attack. So a lot can still change, especially this round is going to be quite caregiving which team is going to have the upper hand, which team is going to be in the advantage. But we can see one side and one thing is clear from Team Asgard. They want to make sure that they clear out these roamers and take them out. Ooh. I was about to say that Minions found the kill, but was Yoshiro on the other side of the map getting the kill. Flashbang's coming full, fully flashed, swing around the corner, gonna finish off the player in a second, and with that we have cleared the top floor. and Asgard just keep going with the kills. They're not able to be stopped right now in a 2-5 scenario. They got every single player out of the map they wanted to. There's only one C4 left, and the last 2 men standing, they find themselves on the side, waiting for their destiny.
I will pretty much say and conclude with it after we have now seen pretty much 12 rounds of defense, not 18 rounds of defense lines played, and I would say on 5-on-5 linear, defense to attack hold, defense hold to attack play, it's minions. If we have a split, like a 5-on-5 split positioning, it's always Asgard, always. As soon as you see minions have to split up in both man count and manpower, Asgard figured out ways of picking each and every part individually apart from them. They rip the first roamer, they immediately spot out the second roamer, flash and push him out, then they begin to play down forwards. They open up these verticals, gain another visual, gain another kill. They do open another vertical, they do it very systematically. It's like a puzzle, they go doing it step by step. And every single time Minions is not able of playing alongside each other, help each other out and play as a unit, Asgard picks them apart.
Now, seeing that on the defense, and we saw their attacking rounds on Clubhouse, what could be, or what would Minions need to do here on the attack? Because now the swap comes in, it is a 3-3, so a neutral swap, which, let's be honest, it doesn't ring too good for the side of Minions, because they needed to have this extra round. They needed, especially now going to the attack, which is weaker on Consulate. What do the Minions need?
The thing that Minions need is they will need to have a little bit of luck playing their cards so that Asgard is not playing it too heavily against them on these entryways, on windows, on doorways, or in general all these hallways, like every single normal approach point. Meanwhile, also Minions need to figure out ways of playing it not as Asgard did, but very linear, very, I would say, one-sided perspective. But they need to play from multiple angles, multiple angle ways, just to gain themselves potential crosses, potential cross your angle lines, or maybe catching 1 or 2 guys off guard if they need to roam back, if they need to drop down. Those are like the things that Minions need to look into. As they do the same attack as that Asgard did, just completely say, okay, we will go completely and all 4 windows in open area and try to approach from there. I will pretty much say, and I'm convinced that Asgard will just completely rip them apart as Minions did to Asgard privately.
We'll have to see. We're beautiful drone coming in here, getting the information, but this is already one thing that I notice a big difference between Minions and Asgard. Just by looking at these drones, look where the drones are coming in, look how far ahead we're droning, and no one is taking the space. We just got the information that the entirety of that lower side is clear and everything. But the Asgard, they had a drone, they had somebody pushing that, somebody taking that control, where Minions, they drone it and then they need to take that themselves. And that's the thing, a drone information is only viable for like 2 seconds, maybe 3 if you really want to be nice to yourself, but that's it. If you don't take it in that seconds, the information comes invalid and somebody could be walking in. And already we find ourselves still in the first half of the round, but we've lost 2, and especially 2 players who are so essential for later game to create chaos, to make these operators move around, the Grim and Deimos. 2 very important operators are now gone from the board in a 3v5 scenario, and yet we still have so much utility from Asgard. 2 C4s. If you look at the Minions, we only have 3 drones left.
You only got 3 more drones left, and as you just mentioned, both Grim and Deimos are been dealt with. Now finally you figure out the first kill, and also you gain some good damage done to Shenzo. But Deimos picked when you have a mute on target in the defensive lines. Not pretty much understandable, as there's only 1 quick swing into the mute, and the death track is gone. Immediately the same thing happens to Grim. Grim just gets weighted by the lines of Asgard, waiting, okay, where's the first beehive coming from? Immediately, when the beehive is coming from, you know you have 1.5 seconds to push him out. Meanwhile, he is swapping guns until he can ADS properly. And you immediately just spot him out, figure the sound, swing him, get a kill done. And then you move back. And you're stealing a lot of time. Yet finally, Minions figure out ways to come back, gain a little equalizer before they get one downer again. And that's like the momentum that we were speaking about. Asgard gains kills, falls back, and then when you're least expected, they pull out again. as we just see here in the final opening camp. You pull back, you gain one long angle fight, and you catch them off guard from the angle side. You trade out, beautiful kill done by Asgard, gaining back the advantage and also gaining back the lead in round number 7.
Sequential breaching activated.
It's just beautiful how they've done it this round, right? It just shows we get a kill, we get the trade, another one, we get a kill, we get a trade, we get killed, and we have the last trade. So especially in the last 3 kills for the side of Asgard, they've traded out nearly every single kill that has happened. And that shows also that even though the army mechanics is so skilled, they can take these 1v1s, they can also be disciplined. And here's the thing about droning ahead, and this is why I made earlier this comparison between these two teams. Because this is a big map, you really need to take the space. You really need to take space under your control. Because again, information is only valid from a drone 2 to 3 seconds. And that's basically it. Again, 3 seconds if you really want to be nice to yourself. But after 2 seconds, an information is not valid anymore. And Asgard, because they drone and take the space and play it as a team together, we're so quick on taking the space and able to push the bomb site quite early within the round, have an execute quite early, or even execute on multiple spots because they have the space so quickly. For minions, we saw them trying to do an execute in the last 20 seconds of that round, which here again, as an attacker, you never have the clock taken for you. So the more time you can save early in the round, the better. And for that, you just need the aggression. You need to trust what your drone says, and you need to push with the information given.
It's pretty much easy play out on these maps. In general, in R6 Esport, you're looking in prep, drone in, spot out gadgets, spot out operators. Attempt, watch their entry points with pre-placed camps. Enter, and then figure out ways of just move forward, gain ground. And then when you're in your perforated space, you'll lock down an area with a potential gridlock or nomad to close things out. Then you play forward. Meanwhile, you're disrupting and destroying gadgets and utility. If that isn't the case, if you're not playing that scheme, you'll not come far. As Asgard is playing as a unit, they do that every single time. No, they're not lucky with it all the time. Well, they're lucky the most of these rounds. As once again now, Asgard predicted, I would say, somehow the attack approach and immediately locked out opportunities. 40 minutes of entry freely down and gained that first ground. On a big map, as you mentioned, as Consular, when you're being denied the first entry on ground, you will have a definitely hard one to take that in the second approach.
We might have a little bit of fight back from the side of minions now getting the opening pick, but there's still one more player waiting with that shotgun close range, who was already cause of the death of 2 players from the side of minions. As we deal a little bit more damage, one already slithering away in the last 3 HP that we have. Minions find themselves in a really difficult position. We might be able to take out another player, the one who was playing close range. But we find ourselves with 2 men on very, very low HP and a slither of HP. One of them takes it below the other one, maybe 2. That's basically it. In the last 50 seconds here again, we find ourselves in a tricky spot because of the time.
Time is definitely ticking against minions. The minions is pretty much low on these HP lines. They need to move as a unit, and they're only having one route where they can go. That is that long hallway. And there as well, there's a mirror. Now the mirror is dealt with. There's no clear vision. But still, we have players playing these lines. As Inter finds the first, gets immediately refragged. But Inter getting another kill on Tom. These are these moments that we're talking about. Gaining these refrags on your teammates. Move as one, move as a unit, and try to figure out ways of gaining these refrags. And once again, you gain a kill against you, and you're in position of taking that refrag. And these refrags are costing daily for Asgard and are very good for minions. That is what Asgard gained rounds from. These refrags, and now minions is giving those and taking those in is good for minions. Is this the minions that we need to see? Yes. Is this the minions that will win this map for granted? No, definitely not. There's a lot of more work to do. They need to be more specific, more cleared out with their pre-placed camps to figure out ways where they can approach and enter the building without having the first gunfights already. They're a little bit too given in these gunfights. They're giving Asgard too many 1v1s. Yes, they had the opportunity and then closed out that Oscar player in the hands of Yashiro down below and behind in that backhand staircase down at server to gain that kill on the later approach. But that couldn't be the final take and the final answer of you as a team in it that has come so far in this competition of saying we only lock out opponents and we take them out when we feel for it. This can't be the final answer.
Definitely shouldn't be the final answer.
10
But
seconds left before
it is a
insertion.
4-4. It's still everything is open.
5
Even though it
seconds
was a
left.
neutral swap, 3-3, which should favor Asgard, but there's one thing that they have, the minions.
Attackers' objective
It
to
is just the
locate a bomb
mentality
and
that you
defuse
already
it.
have a map to back you up. In case you lose this map, it's fine, but for minions, in case you lose this map, it's over. That would mean the best of 3 is done. So they have this mentality boost a little bit. On top of that, as you said, the past games over the past weeks, they've been going well for Asgard, not so well for minions, so there's a lot of pressure on the boys. So they're making these mistakes, but what we can see is that they're adapting each round. They're really trying to change it, and that's one thing I really like about minions. Even though it might not look good this round, the next round it will look better, and that's what they have been proving to us so far, nearly in every round. And here we have it, quicker on the take, taking the space, making sure we have multiple entry points, not just this one thing. The flashbang comes through, we get rid of the barbed wire, making sure and opening us up ways to push, and also the blitz. If there would have been a smoke in that corner, we would be in big trouble, but there isn't. The verticality is gonna make it was gonna be a problem like always. As we have now Roma on the board from the side of Asgard, he's gonna have the opening pick, but we only take out the Ash, so everything still fine.
Still fine, but on another approach, you gain already 1 minute and 20 seconds for you as the team of Asgard. And that is another thing that they have been looking forward to, just figuring out ways of stealing time for minions. Minions need a lot of time. They're not as fast in pace. They're not as brutal in force on these attack lines, pushing beyond and pushing down these defenders. And that is another key impactor for these defensive goals. You need to figure out ways of steal away from the engagements against the attackers, of having positions that can maybe surprise them. You need to steal away time with gadgets, some sneaky peeks here, bring a little bit of pressure here and there to make them feel unconfident. That is like the key things that you need to look into. And these positions are a little bit too open and a little bit too risky as Yarn just moves through.
The blitz that we need, the aggression that we need from the start of minions is finally showing up, but not too much. Because again, you gotta be careful against Asgard. But we just get every single kill with the blitz that was needed as we push through, take the smoke, take the family, walk inside, take another kill, and then what is all left is the mirror trying to just hold on to the shrines, unable to do so. Minions secured themselves the upper hand yet again with 5-4. The next victory for them would mean a match point, potentially then also a map if they close it up in 2 rounds. I wouldn't be too sure about Asgard because they can definitely change up a few things as we have a little bit of a disconnect.
Attackers need to locate
Instead of
and
Asgard,
defuse
potentially.
Eventually concluding in a rehost, and I pretty much think that we will have that. As we are back on camps, rehost isn't the thing that we were hoping for, but okay, let's be honest. We have a little bit to talk about. I mean, it's definitely stacking up a little bit from their performances recently on their own map pick on Clubhouse, where we awaited them to show up for themselves. They didn't do that. Now they're finally showing up on Concert, a map that isn't favoring their playstyle and either their performance in the recent weeks. So that's somehow surprising, but it's definitely telling you something. This team has endurance. This team has will, and they're definitely dedicated to try everything split inch that's left in their power case of saying we want to try our very best of going all the distance if we so need to.
I think we just see it in performance, no? 5-4, but the rounds itself, especially that last round, we talked about aggression, we talked about how they need to work with time more, they find themselves always in tricky positions, then again giving too many 1v1s to the enemies, but then how do you want to have a 1v1 if you have a blitz pushing through, making sure you've completely blinded? And on top of that, he doesn't only get just the smoke kill. No, he just swings around through the smokes, gets himself another Fenrir kill. So those are 2 pistol kills with the blitz, the opening picks that we needed. And on top of that, verticality, they lost another player behind that mirror window. 3 players just within an execute, and they executed before the 1 minute mark because they had the entirety control of that other side of the basement spot. By the 1 minute 50 mark, if I'm not completely wrong, 1 minute 40 mark potentially, but I assume it was by the 1 minute 50 mark, they had that control. That means they had time, they had info, they worked with it and used the time to the advantage, executed earlier. And that is also surprise factor because, again, a lot of people tend yeah, we can wait this out. We can just play the time, especially defender, play the clock sometimes. But at that point, if the aggression from the attackers is so big, you can't play the clock anymore. You're gonna have to play against it. And Asgard wasn't able to do that in the last round.
They weren't able to do that. And another key thing for minions that plays very well in perspective here is Asgard is giving them these one-on-one fights very often now. Asgard moves very often, very in often open confined spaces. That was the biggest thing against minions on the first map, and now they turned a little bit around, and Asgard is trying to be a little bit cheeky, being a little bit too open, figuring out could we potentially gain a surprise momentum if we move one guy out there, potentially the smoke that we saw jumping on these pallets, and it was immediately pushed out with the yellow paint by the blitz. Another thing that I'm also calling upon, yes, we have a meta. When we have a meta, you're there to abuse it. That's just how esports is. You use when you're dealt a hand of cards, you play your very best with the cards you're dealt. And one card, the biggest card in your forehand, is always the meta. And when you have meta operators available, like a Blitz, like a Demos, you try and bring those on the roster. And you see what these operators bring to you. As it brought minions, the force of saying, okay, we can push in, we can be aggressive as Asgard was towards us. And immediately you catch not only one, not only two, but very often 3 or 4 guys off guard and making them move. And as soon as you make the move, you have a teammate that is in the crosses with the right crossing angle to gain these kills.
Exactly. Fortunately, guys, though, I have to inform you guys that this rehost is going to take a little bit longer. So we're going to throw you guys in a quick break. Don't run away. We'll be back shortly. But just make sure, get yourself something to drink. We'll be back shortly. See you in a sec. And here we are back again in the game. So you guys can see we're back to a 4-4. Not 5-4. There has been a little bit of a breach with a illegal skin. Has been sorted meanwhile. And now we're back down to a 4-4. Another try for Asgard, meaning they're gonna have to play the same bomb site. We're gonna have to see the same setup. On the other side, minions, they're gonna have to play the same operators, blah, 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 blah. Just basically a replay of the round. Just without the illegal skin.
Yeah. So that means more or less minions lost a round and need to replay it, and Asgard gain another opportunity of gaining them some. So I would say definitely a good take for Asgard, especially, yes. It's always hard and it's always a little bit over-argued if some teams bring forward these skins. Does it really need to be like done with a rehost, and does it really need to be pointed out? Yes, you had overall skin because you lost a round either way. The skin doesn't do anything more damage to you or what it is, but rules are rules, and rules are definitely not there to be broken, as we just showcased you guys. So replayed round will definitely bite minions in the ass. Meanwhile, Asgard is definitely laughing it off for themselves. They say, okay, we have another opportunity and we gladly take that.
As we can see, minions are doing a great job here, pushing forward so quickly with everything. The Blitz is doing the same Blitz things as before, and there's so much time on the clock. You're gonna have to be careful about this push. Because minions, I think, they don't think they want to be stopping down anytime soon as the Blitz slowly but steady walks through. He's taking a little bit of damage through the smoke. Needs to be careful not to take too much, as he finds himself now laying in that smoke, waiting for it to go away, potentially get himself a few kills here. He finds himself one, but can he get more? He's so close to the side. A few flashbangs coming through. He does a little bit more damage to the dog, but he tunnel visions a little bit too much. It's going to be taken out. Now back down to a 4v4. We have Asgard fighting back here, but the trades are coming free. So beautifully played so far by the minions as we find ourselves in a 2v2 scenario, and a minute is left on the clock. So much time for them, and the players are scattered all around the map.
Scattered all around the map. What we see, the deep control is still in the hands of Asgard. Meanwhile, the backhand is dealt with for minions. And I pretty much don't understand why Unfolds is completely drawing away. You can complete crossover from the map. absolutely leaving his teammate alone, and then it falls in the hands of Klein as Asgard finally grants himself this round in his second approach. Second attempt goes in the hands of Asgard, taking back the lead, going in the lead now after round 9 with a 5-4, costing Minions that round after the so-called replay.
No, we have a 180 switch now. We had a 5-4 for the Minions, now we have a 5-4 for Asgard. So I can just repeat myself, saying Asgard could go here to a match point, could potentially make this to 7-4, close it up, and win the best of 3. Or we could see a little bit of a fight back from Minions and bring it up to a 5-5. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think Minions are going to bring it back, or do you think it's going to be Asgard now moving to the match point?
I think Minions should be able to win it back, specifically because this is the spot where we had so many confined gunfights and I would say so many scenarios that could have gone either way. Linear play 5-on-5, I see Minions as a stronger team, but it could all go wrong in the first approach line if, for example, a Claim can cross off a player by Team Minions in the first approach lines. It's pretty much about where they want to approach, and they need to play it from multiple angles. So if they don't do that, Minions will have a hard one. If Minions plays it from multiple angles, I think Minions will take a 5-5. If they don't doing it from the beginning of, Asgard will definitely lock them down.
We're doing a lot of drone work here. This is also something that we have pointed out to the set of Minions. Lots of drone work, but not much is happening after the drone is happening. Also here, very careful, the Blitz is now repelling, so runout could be quite crucial while the Flores is doing Flores jobs. Getting rid of a little bit of utility, making sure there is ways to apply pressure to Asgard. And they're using a lot of pressure points, not only from one side, but also from other sides, to just make sure that they can box in a few of these players, make them move around and play by their music and not the other way around.
I'm a little bit, I would say, insecure about the take that's going to happen. Yes, Unfolds is taking that second angle so far, but also it's a very, I would say, compacted play out and line out in the hands of Team Minions. Unfolds, now upstairs, is definitely pinged out by that take. He gets a kill, makes it equal once again, and now finally both teams are pretty much equal to these counts of gaining these refrags. These refrags count big for both teams so far, and it's pretty much about which team gains the first upper hand and can keep it longer than 5 seconds. Because the clock is ticking away, and it's definitely not taking for Minions, as Minions though is able to lock down a little bit more area now. But the question is, can they move more forward and lock down the first angles of key positions, the first angles of a final approach lines towards the spot before they get crossed out? And no, they can't.
Beautiful kill there from the side of Yasuke. Z makes it and gives Asgard now the man advantage, but Jesus, English is not working out for me today. Doesn't matter. One thing that is working out is Asgard keeping the man advantage here for the next few rounds and hopefully next few seconds. The last 40 seconds are now coming in slowly but steady. So the diffuser C4 comes along, beautifully finds the player, and then we find ourselves in a 1v3 scenario. Swing around the door, taking so much damage. 13 HP, 25 seconds is not gonna be it as Asgard move to the match point in this round. That means one more victory away for the second map to end this best of 3.
And it pretty much happened in the way I call it. Yes, Minions didn't take it in, but Asgard did occasionally all that what I mentioned. They played it on a full position. Minions wasn't able to play it from multiple angles of like compressing the positions and also making it a little bit harder for Asgard to move freely. That didn't come in case as Unfolds gained the first kill, moved all the way back, re-run back onto Spiral, and then had the same way of approach towards the side as his both other teammates had. And that way, Minions could stand static, Asgard could stand in static positions, just wait for the takes, and then had also a guy down below with that C4, that's the C4, that hit perfect, on spot. It's a standard corner, it's the most standard on concept where potential plant spot is. If you have the count of a call or a yellow ping, there is someone there, you're always dropping these two fours there, and these two fours often gain you
10
a
seconds
big
remaining.
advantage. And that one gain you a different level approach, and
5
definitely
seconds
dealt
to
you the
insertion.
round for your sake.
Attackers are
This could be the
moving
last
to
round. What do you
the bomb.
think?
I would stick to the same. Minutes is definitely needed to have to figure out a way where they can point out entryways and approach the spot now, and also clear out these roamers, gain top floor attack pretty early on. But they need multiple angles to do that. If they play it same as they do now, they enter over open once again. If that isn't turning out to be a disaster for minions, uh, this could be good for them. But they really need to have more players to come from different type of angles to just close off in a way these re-roam back spots lines for Asgard. They gain themselves the upper hand with the opening frag of this round, but still, the positions and also like the take of Asgard, I'm pretty much convinced that Asgard can close it up. Even though I say Minions will take one more round before this match is over.
Man advantage is definitely on the side of the minions, but let's not count it over yet. There's still a C4 in pocket. We know how good and strong Asgard can be. So swing around the corner, we lose another member. And now we make it to a 5-3 scenario. So it might not be over fully yet. But the one thing that is definitely clear is let's not underestimate these players because they are strong and there's a reason why they're so strong. And as I say that, we lose another member. 5v2, this should be pretty much impossible for Asgard to come back.
It's pretty much impossible, but it is still an availability as they drop the first player. Does he know for a fact that he dropped the player? I don't think so. Shenzo also now dropping a potential road to go on a flank. He doesn't count his way up the stairs, does he? He's trying to. He's dying. Nearly 5 HP left. And that way he dealt himself. Definitely saying that he won't survive that scenario. He may come up the stairs, but he will definitely be dropped down. He's just almost holding his cross, holding a flank that he's roaming back upon. No, he isn't. He's watching one. He's getting another kill, though. On Shenzo finding a kill onto Inter. He's been spotted out by Onfals, and Onfals shuts him down. It's 4-1, 50 seconds left. I would say that's pretty well enough time. 4 minutes to have the most calmest and plan it out final approach onto your side possible.
Swinging out the corner, trying to do a little bit of damage here is not going to be enough as minions stay alive for one more round. They just need to extend it. One more victory and bring it all the way to overtime. And pretty sure the viewer know, but would you like to tell them the secret of the overtime, Mighty?
I would for my sake say that I find Asking to be a little bit too strong and dedicated on the spot that we most likely will go to now. That I can't stick with minions to bring it to overtime. I will stick to Asking that they will close it off. Especially because that was my final guess that Asgard will take it this best of 3 series. We're down in basement. They showcased that they can play that spot pretty well out. Have a good control on it. Yes, they lost it before and of the rehost and then immediately won it back. And I pretty much say if they have the same positions, they pretty much gain themselves the same frame momentums. This will definitely be around for Asgard. They need to be safe with it. They don't need to be too crucial with it. If they maybe overpace and overpeak as they did privately, this will go to overtime. If they can maybe just focus in and lock in, not be like BDS on the major final, they can definitely take this home now.
5 seconds
Jesus, you
remaining.
really like to shoot against BDS, don't you?
Because of BDS losing, I'm not getting free battle pass on 3 accounts, so no, I'm not rooting for BDS more in the future. I rooted for them on Manchester when they kicked out Secret. I root for them now when they kicked out Secret once again in Montreal. And they showcased me that they are pretty much the best team there, the meta team. I was so convinced of that, and they completely threw everything of bold they potentially could do. So no, I'm not rooting for BDS anymore.
It hurts. It does hurt a little bit, but nonetheless, looking forward to this round. It could mean a lot. Could mean the overtime would could be coming, but it could also mean Asgard walking away with another victory. One key player that I see here who could potentially be a big threat is this Blitz. He's been doing so much damage, especially if you look back at the rounds who were in the basement spot. The Blitz was a key indicator if they're going to be losing or winning this. So as long as he does and deal enough damage and gets at least 1 or 2 picks, this round should be going to the side of Minions and they could extend this to an overtime. But it really comes down a little bit to the splits.
It pretty much comes down to the Blitz, and if Blitz has a game strategic plan, if he has a spot line out, a potential runway where he can just move on and push down and put some pressure on Asgard. As of now, Asgard is pretty much calmed down. They're good in static positions. They can just wait for the approach to commit in as the flashes is now coming through. They're having crosses, and I've pretty much figured out a way that Asgard will try to prompt out and push every single split inch of force, especially of explosive that they have against that Blitz. And that Bandit is pretty much set in a good position to swing out that Blitz as soon as the Blitz moves out.
Oh, Flashbang comes through, Blitz comes in as well, it's going to be denied immediately. On the other hand, we have another player falling. A 3v4, they use pretty much every utility they have. All 6 flashbangs are gone. Another member as well, a 2v4. Minions, so much util they had, but nothing has happened upon it. They may get another kill, but will they be able to get 3 in order to push this to an overtime? If they lose this round, they lose the best of 3, and that is the pressure they're gonna have to be facing here. Picking up the diffuser, swing around the corner, losing a member in the Fenrir gadget, might get bombed, but it's not gonna be enough as Asgard get the final victory, get the final man, and with that, they win this best of 3 against the Minions on the final day in the Swiss stage. A 2-0, a 7-5. It could have been the overtime. It really, really looked good, but there at the end, losing the members, using so much utility, and no action happened upon that utility really gave away a little bit that round.
They gave it away, but somehow they tried to use everything that they had to push in and finally gain themselves an upper hand in that final take. But what did Asgard do so dearly needed? They pushed themselves in position of saying, okay, calm down, let's play it static, let's play it cool with each other and wait for the right momentum. The momentum came, they pushed on a lot of explosive against the Blitz. Blitz was so low on HP, and when the push finally concluded by the Blitz, he was double angled. He had a player of Vamai playing against him, getting 1 or 2 bullets onto his, I would say, feet or foot. Meanwhile, he was walking in. Meanwhile, also the Bandit was prepped and figured out a way of getting some bolts on that shoulder, dropping him down and getting him rid of. Immediately, the next guy behind the Blitz tried to push in and maybe figure out a way of gaining himself some redemption for his teammate. Doesn't find any grounds there. And immediately you see it when we have a 5-3 split, you got pushed back. Immediately, Minions moves back, fold in their position, has no more retakes ground, or gaining some, I would say, some intense gunfights where they potentially could win out with 1 or 2 refrags. Then another approach came, and Minions was pretty much not well set for these. As Asgard was in good positions, they have multiple cross angles where they can help ult each other. There was no way and no grounds given for Minions to have a second try for that final attempt onto side.
There we have it, another victory for the side of Asgard. And let's have a look at the updated bracket. What did happen today in the final, or in the last day basically, of the Swiss bracket? There we have it. Asgard is now qualified, same as Entropy, same as Multifgam. We're gonna have to say goodbye to Crown Zero, Minions, and the final team. They are all eliminated, not gonna be participating in the next stage. But Asgard securely managed to keep themselves in the bracket, even though it was the last play day.
But that also concludes with us having the top 8 for the final stage. We are having Team LDL and Cook. We are having Silent Family and PBX. We're having Team Cook by MG. We're having Entropy Gaming. We're having Vit and Molotov Gang. That are our top 8 for ESA of this season, as they will continue their fights for the trophy and for the title of champs here of ESA Season 9 from out of next week.
Exactly. There you have the bracket. There you have everything that's coming for you next coming week. So make sure to definitely tune in. It is, as you guys saw, winner play against winner from the moving games on. So it's definitely going to be interesting because every single team fought for their spot in the playoffs, basically. So it's really going to be interesting. But that was the only game today, guys. We're going to have to send you guys to a wonderful and beautiful evening without us. So I would say, Mighty, do you have any last words?
No, I don't have more words to say today.
Well, then I would say have a wonderful evening. See you guys next week at ESA Cup with the playoffs. Until then, stay fresh and have a beautiful evening. Bye bye.